Here she is. Let's bring her in. She's an entertainment reporter. She writes for Parade Magazine. She has the exclusive podcast. She just had a little mini work vacation in Fiji, which we'll talk about. Her second time on the podcast. It is Sharon Tharp. Sharon, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Steve. I'm very happy to be here. Very excited to talk. There's a lot going on these days in reality TV.
Yes, there is. And I first want to talk about your little mini vacation you just took. So I know this happens, and the only person that obviously talks about it all the time is Dalton Ross from EW. But I knew there were others that go out there. Basically, they invite Survivor. We're talking about Survivor, by the way. They invite people out to Fiji to do preseason interviews that you will run in, February of 2026, and exclusives like that. But how does that happen for reporters like you? Do you have to kind of raise your hand and volunteer? Do they reach out to you? How does it all come about?
Yeah, I think it depends on the show. For Survivor, I covered it back in the day, then kind of fell off. And so, I'm friendly with CBS through Big Brother. Obviously, it's a different publicity team, but like also kind of the same. So I did reach out a couple months ago because season 50 is obviously a big deal. I've been a huge fan of the show. And I was like, you know what? Let me just ask. They could always say no. And I figured Dalton would be there. Mike Bloom's usually there. And they had, I guess, been planning a little bit of a bigger press trip because it was season 50. And so there were, I don't know, 10 of us out there. There was a decent amount this year.
I was going to say, I saw on your Instagram, it wasn't just 3 or 4. I
No,
didn't
yeah.
notice anybody. I didn't recognize who anybody else was outside of you, Dalton, and Mike Bloom. I don't know who anyone else is that covers it, unfortunately. But it's a really cool thing that you get to do. I know Dalton gets to go out, like, I think he told me when I had him on the podcast one time. I think he said he gets to go out like every other season, something like that, or maybe it changes up depending on his schedule and whatnot. But so obviously you don't need to spoil anything for us. You can't. But what were you able to witness out there? Obviously, you got to do interviews that are going to run in 2026. Tell everybody like exactly what you get to do when you go out there as press for something like
Yeah,
this.
for sure. Obviously, I signed a very long what am I saying? Not DNA, NDA.
NDA.
Um, long day. But yeah, we got to go out early, so it was before the season had started. Had a couple days of interviews. I did like most of them in one day, so that's 24 contestants. That's a lot, and we honestly got a lot of time with them. Like I got a good 20 minutes. Sometimes they were running over, and some I think one or two of them might have been 40 minutes. So it was actually pretty nice the way that they structured it. But yeah, got to do interviews, got to talk to Jeff at some point. I talked to one of the executive producers, Matt Van Wagenen, I think that's how you pronounce it. The challenge producer. So got to do all that. We did run a few challenges, which is fun. Got to test them out with the dream team,
Mm-hmm.
and got to witness the first few days of the game. I'm not sure I can really like detail everything, but essentially the beginning of the game, the marooning, which I think again Dalton has done this before, so I don't think it's a huge secret. But we got to go to the tribe camps, we got to witness tribal council, and so kind of the full picture. Really fun, and I'm sort of excited to see how they edit it, right? Because I didn't see everything that happened, but we got like little bits.
Did you get to go visit all? Well, I can't even ask that question because that might give something away. But you
Yeah.
did get to witness the first tribal council.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So on something like this, when you went out there, was the cast already announced publicly before you got on a plane to Fiji? Was it announced as you guys were flying there? What was the cast announcements to us, the public, versus when you got there?
Yeah, I was actually wondering myself because I was like, I hope they announce this because it's gonna leak. Which I do think CBS is starting to realize. Okay, let's announce these returning player casts when they leave because it's gonna leak. The Amazing Race cast for the Big Brother cast leaked, and I knew that was gonna happen. But no, I think they announced it on CBS Good Morning or whatever it's called on a Wednesday. The cast
Yeah.
flew out that night, and I flew out Saturday night.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you had known
we
the
knew.
people that you were setting to go interview.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So I think people are always going to have their opinions about the cast, before this cast was announced, there was a lot of speculation going around online. And I think the overwhelming majority, or at least a majority of the people, thought we all knew it was going to be returnees for season 50. We always knew that from the get-go for at least a year or something like that. Probst had said it in a lot of his interviews. Yeah, it's going to be a returnee season. But for me, I felt like somewhere in the narrative, it got taken over that there was going to be way more pre-season 40, pre-new era contestants than new era contestants. Like, we didn't know for sure until the cast came out, but as the leaks started coming closer to that Wednesday, it was like, no, this is going to be split. It's going to be half the cast is going to be 40 and above, and half the cast is going to be pre-40. And then the cast comes out, everybody's got their complaints. What did you think it was going to be heading into this announcement? Did you have anything in your head that you believed it was going to be?
I had been hearing different things. And I think as it went along, like earlier this year, I think is when they started calling a few winners. And so I was like, okay, because they weren't going to, it didn't seem like they were doing winners.
Yeah.
But then they had started calling winners and I was like, okay. And then obviously the barrage of social media, a lot of players were really upset, were posting. And then you could start to see the pattern. Okay, the people that are posting, actually, a lot of them were new era players that were pretty big. So I was like, okay, maybe it's going the old school way. And then kind of like everyone, I was a little shocked how recent it leaned. Again, this happens sometimes. They want people to remember people. So I get that. I just didn't really understand, so heavy from the last two seasons. I think those people would have gotten another shot within the next 5 years. So I kind of wish we got a few more names that probably aren't going to get another shot. But yeah, I think it changed, and I don't know if that was sort of like a CBS thing, like a bigger executive decision, or it was Jeff or casting. Like, I don't know, but it definitely seemed like the theme, not even the theme, but the puzzle pieces of the cast that they were putting together changed over time. So
yeah, and when the cast is finally out there, it was just, I don't know what to make of this cast. Are there big names from the past? Absolutely. But you also have people that are now getting to play, and nothing against them. They're great players and they're well-known people in their Survivor world. But why does Cirie and Ozzy get to play for a fifth time and somebody doesn't get to play for a third time, or somebody doesn't get to play for a second time, but you choose, Chrissy Hoffbeck and Christian Kubicki from season 35 and season 37. They're getting to play for a first time on the pre-40 seasons, but yet Cirie and Ozzy are coming back for a fifth time, and Stephanie is going to be there for her fourth time, and Colby's going to be there for a fourth time, and Aubrey's going to be there for a fourth time. It just, the mix and match, and then Jenna Lewis from season 1 is going to come back for season 50. It just was like, they have their own reasons. They don't have to give us a reason as to why, but to me, that was what was confusing, because once the final cast did come out, I was just like, I don't get the rhyme or reason as to why certain people were cast,
yeah, and it sucks. And it's like we all have our biases a little bit, because like part of me totally gets it. I'm like, yeah, do we need to see somebody 5 times? But then when I'm like, well, it's Cirie, I'm like, my heart is like, well, I can't complain about Cirie. So it's tricky, but I totally get the criticism, because 5 times when someone like, even Chrissy, I was happy to see her get another chance. I think she's been waiting a minute, but yeah, there's been people throughout the teens and the 20s that haven't come back that probably could have been really fun seeing back. So I get both sides of it. I will say, after talking with the cast, I was a little more hyped coming out of Fiji. I thought they were all really fired up for it. And so I'm probably a little higher on the cast than I was before I went, if that means anything.
I think with me, with Cirie, has nothing to do with Survivor, because she hasn't played since season 34. So it's not like she was just on it. But she was just recently on a Big Brother season and a Traitors season. That's where it is for me. It's like she's everywhere. And it's like, it would have been fine if she didn't get brought back for this. Ozzy, we haven't seen since season 34 as well. But as far as I know, I don't think Ozzy's been on reality TV since he was on Game Changers. So that's where it was for me. And look, I think Jeff said this afterwards when he was doing his interviews. Look, you've only got 50 people. Clearly, we could have more. We would. Or not 50. 24 people. Clearly, there's going to be fan favorites that get left off. There's just no way around it. We can't let everybody on the show. So I get it to a certain extent as well. But some of the choices that they made, I'm just okay. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see when I first heard about 50 being returnees, I actually thought season 50 was going to only be people from season 40 on. And then I started hearing rumors about, they are going to bring some older contestants back. But then I was like, well, if you do pre-40, it's almost like you got to do half and half. You can't do 16 from 40 and higher and 8 from pre-season 40 just because those old schoolers might get picked off just because they aren't part of the, quote unquote new era. So there is that. But again, gameplay, we just have no idea. And on a season like this, clearly all these people know each other outside of the 2 contestants that are on this season 50, that are on season 49, which will air in the fall. Those are the only 2 players that none of the other 22 people have seen play, nor do they probably know anything about them other than if they ask them out there on the island, hey, how'd you do on your season? So the interesting thing about returnee season is built-in alliances, people that have hung out before, people that are on other shows before. We all know Stephanie and Suri are very good friends. So you would think they are going to be lock and step on this show in some sort of alliance, but they might not even be on the same tribe. So when you go into a season like this, watching it and, covering it as a reporter, do you kind of like do a pregame mixing and matching of, hey, who's been friends and who do I think is going to pair up with who? Or even in talking to them, have they already said, like, I've got some? You don't have to name names, but did they admit, like, I want to play with this person?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I asked about that. I think that, like you said, is probably one of the most interesting things about returning players is all the web of how they know each other and who said what about who, and even the social media stuff with, like, I can't keep up with all of it, but I get the spark notes of who's friends with who, and I will say, like, they also all understand too, like they do their homework before they go out there, and they know who talks and all that stuff, and even like you mentioned, Serene and Stephanie, like, yes, they've been on the show what, twice together? No, I guess once together, but they were on Snake in the Grass. That's what it was.
Together, yeah.
But I also didn't know their current relationship. I feel like it's kind of like college or high school. Like, you cross paths at parties or you might see each other again, but like, do you talk that much? I don't know. So that was the other thing I didn't know going in of like, yeah, people know each other, but have they talked in 10 years? Like, has Colby and Stephanie talked? Like, I don't know. And so that is the interesting part. And for me, it's a little less interesting when it's the newer people because we just saw them. So like, I know, Kyle, Camilla, and Joe, we saw them. The finale was a week before we left. Like, it was very recent. So,
and Suri and Stephanie were also on Traitors together. Weren't they on the same season of Traitors, or were they on different seasons of Traitors? Now,
oh my God, you're right. You're right.
They were
so there you go.
Yeah. So I think that, I mean, I don't know what they said out there to you, but I would think that they are. I mean, the tribes. I don't, tell us, but if they ever end up in the merge together, I gotta believe that they are going to watch out for each other. Is what I'm saying. I don't think there's any bad blood there. There is a bad blood from social media that I remember seeing on my Twitter For You page, but now I'm forgetting who said something about somebody, and I'm totally blanking. Do you know what it is? Is there one offhand? It wasn't like horrible trash talking, but somebody didn't approve of what somebody posted. It might have been something political. I don't remember, but
I don't know, but I'm sure that happened because
there is something out there, and now I'm totally blanking on it. Oh well, I'll try and remember it by the time this podcast gets out. All right. The other thing is, and we'll move on from Survivor. I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to sit here and say like I'm shitting on it. Survivor's been my favorite reality show of all time. I watch every season. I absolutely love it. And I like returnee seasons, and I'm not going to complain about this cast. I just kind of scratched my head, but then I'm like, well, Steve, they can only fit 24 on the cast. Like, clearly people that you might have wanted to be on just couldn't get cast. They only have 24 spots. Okay, I'm fine with it. I'm moving on, and I can't wait till it airs next probably February of 2026, I'm assuming. So let's move on to Traitors. Season 4 cast was released. This is something that I know you have talked about. Hell, I think you've been on 3 podcasts in the last week talking about the Traitors season 4 cast announcement.
Yep.
I have purposely not listened to what you have said because I wanted to save it for here, so you and I could have a back and forth about it. What is your take on the season 4 cast of Traitors?
I think there's some really fun picks on there. I think the Big Brother representation is really fun. I think Ian, I would have never expected him to be on, to be honest. Like I kind of thought
Yeah,
he was done with reality TV. You know, I kind of like switching it up. Um, I love Tiffany, so I'm thrilled that she's there. And the Survivor representation, Natalie Anderson's one of my favorite winners, players of Survivor. I'm a little worried about her in the castle. I hope she's a traitor. Um, Rob Sesternino, thrilled to see him. Thought he probably should have been on 50 for Survivor, but I'll take him in the castle. Jam Jam, fine. Like I like Jam Jam. Again, I'm not big on the new era as much. I hate to say that because I am. I'm rewatching it now. But yeah, I was happy with sort of that. I think there are a lot of randos on this. I call them randos. They're just people that we haven't seen in reality competition before. So keeping an open mind, it could be fun. We'll have a breakout star, maybe like a Dylan Efron or a Pilot Pete. But I was scratching my head about some of them. But yeah, and then like no challenge representation. I think there's some other shows we could have pulled from. I was happy to see. I mean, Donna Kelsey, what is what's happening?
yeah. The randos, like you said, are definitely random. Now Tara and Johnny have been on Dance
Yeah,
with the Stars before, so and they're on TV when
they're
they're
like best friends apparently.
yeah. No, they do a lot of coverage, especially at the Triple Crown races for horse racing. But then you get into a K-pop singer, a comedian that Ron Funches. Unless you're in the stand-up world, you probably don't know who Ron Funches is. Donna Kelsey, out of just left field. Okay, um, you know what? Now that I think about this, what I just said to you about the Survivor social media beef, I
Mm.
actually think that's traitor social media beef that somebody on this cast has called out Michael Rappaport for what he has said online. And I was
Oh.
like, oh, okay. Because Michael Rappaport is very controversial in some of the things that he has said politically online. And I just can't remember looking at the names right now. I can't remember who has called him out or said something about something that he posted on Twitter, but it's one of these people, and I
Yeah.
can't remember it. But yeah, it's him. It's not Survivor related. So maybe there was a Survivor one, but that once I pulled up the names here, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It was Michael Rappaport. So another rando on this. Like, what?
Yeah, I know he had some beef, or he's very into Bravo and the Housewives, so I don't know if there was like if there's connections there or there's beef there, but I know he's been on Watch What Happens Live a lot, and I think he got into it with one of the Housewives, but no one on the
That's
cast,
right.
so I'm not really sure. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, and it's interesting for traders because when I'm looking at it, it's 5 from the Real Housewives franchise. We got 3 from Survivor and 2 from Big Brother and Ian and Tiffany. And then it's just a bunch of solos from Bachelor, RuPaul's Drag Race, Dance with the Stars, Top Chef, Love Island. And then, your solos of Donna Kelsey, Stephen Coletti, Rappaport, Ron Funches, the K-pop singer Eric Nam. I have no idea who this guy is, unless I have no idea. I have no idea who he is. Is he from a group or is he a solo
I think
K-pop
he's a
singer?
solo guy, and to be honest, I've been saying the same thing. I'm like, who is this man? I hope he freaking has a breakout. I hope he blows up, for his sake, because I think a lot of people are like, I'm sorry, who are you? So
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll be great. And I mean, when everybody saw Dylan Efron on the cast last year, and then
exactly.
when the announcement was made, we're just like, they're casting Zac Efron's brother. Why can't they cast Zac for us? And then all of a sudden, he's a star, and he was great.
Hmm.
But yeah, we just have, it's prejudging. We all do it, and it's tough. For me personally, when I saw this cast come out, my first reaction was I was completely underwhelmed. I just didn't think there was any star quality. I felt like season 3, when that cast came out, I was like, oh boy,
Yep.
there is some big names here. There's big names if you're in your niche audience, I guess. Like the Big Brother world obviously knows Ian, Terry, and Tiffany, but
So the reason that I'm happy about this is I feel like we need a season off from having like a Big
big
Brother
stars.
winner,
Oh,
just because I want my Big Brother people to do well, and like I don't know, you throw a Taylor Hale in there, and I feel like she's an immediate target. So I don't know. For my friends, I'm kind of like happy, and also like I love Tiffany Ian, but I get what you're saying. Like in terms of, you know, it's hard to top Daniel Reyes, Boston Rob. Like these are Tony, Jeremy. They're all winners.
Yeah.
So I get the sentiment. Like I
And
said,
and while Jam Jam is there and Natalie is there and they are former winners, I don't think, again, unless you're Survivor diehards, they are winners that jump out to people and are just like, oh
oh,
my
I
gosh.
love Natalie Anderson,
I know
Steve.
you do. I know you do. But it has been a while, right, since she's been on TV. What
Yeah.
season did she win? It's been a long time.
San
Let's see,
Juan del Sur. What was that? 28,
she
9,
won.
29. San Juan del Sur.
Yeah, San Juan
And then
del
she
Sur,
came
29.
back for for Winners at War. She came in second place. She's a very aggressive player, which is why I want her to be a traitor, because I just feel like if she's at that round table as a faithful, I don't know.
I'm wondering now, is it good to have 5 from Housewives and 3 from Survivor? Is it going to be good for them? Or are people immediately going to be like, we got to break up the Survivor alliance. We got to break up the Real Housewives alliance. I don't know. I guess it depends on the cast.
Yeah, it depends on the cast. Because again, I don't know if these other 12, 13, however many people, I'm assuming they've watched the show, but I doubt they watched Big Brother 14 and Big Brother 23 and a
No.
random season of whatever. So I'm actually hoping they'll underestimate them, but they do have this quote unquote gamers sort of label. So we'll see.
I had Parvati on about a month ago, and I presented her with a lot of questions in regards to Traitors about what changes that she would like to see. So I'm going to run some of them down with you and let
Okay.
you kind of give your thoughts on if you would like to see. Well, you know what? Let me first just ask you, off the top of your head, as a viewer and a fan of the Traitors, what is 1 or 2 of the biggest changes that you would like to see done to the show?
One is, and it's similar with Big Brother, I tend to not care much about the missions and challenges. I do think it takes up a great chunk of screen time and we're missing sort of the conversations. So I would like them to shorten how much we see of that. I don't think I mean, Deal or No Deal Island too. It was like all about these challenges that I didn't even understand the rules to. So let's like not, or you know what? Up the freaking prize money, because these people don't care about $5,000. Like, no offense, some of them do, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure the housewives probably are like, you know, five
Well,
thousand
yeah.
dollars.
What was it last year? Last year, 4 people split $215,000, which was roughly like 60 a person, and
Before taxes.
before taxes, so they're getting 35,000. Now they might be getting paid on top of it to just appear.
Oh yeah, they get paid
Yeah,
very well just to show up.
just to show.
But
Okay,
as a
but still,
fan, I'm like, Michael Jordan's son is losing his mind over $5,000.
yeah.
No, that's not.
Yeah, the challenges, and I think one of the things that has been suggested online is make all the challenges, don't even make them about money, make them about earning a shield.
I
Change it
don't
to
hate that. I don't hate
yeah.
that. I mean,
Yep.
again, we could be suggesting things that ultimately don't work, but at least I would like to see an evolution of the game.
I also think they need to go back to season 1 in terms of the episode drops. I don't want 1 episode a week of this show. I think this show doesn't work in 1 episode a week. I think they did it right in season 1, where I think it was like 6 the
Mm.
first drop, and then like 3 and 3. It was something like that. I could be off on the episode. Maybe it
I
was
think you're
4
right.
and
I think it was 4 and then 3, something like that. And I kind of agree with that. I think week to week, I get they want to build up the momentum. I think Traitors has a giant machine behind it after, you know, it's winning Emmys and stuff. But personally, for me, let's do a civilian season every year and let's do a celebrity one every year for US, because the civilian one in the UK is freaking amazing. And I think, you know, I like to see celebrities, of course, but I think, I don't know, like it would be nice to have 2 seasons instead of 1.
Tony suggested something after he got eliminated last year, which I thought was a
Mm.
really good request, which was there's got to be some sort of penalty for getting a name wrong on banishment, because it just seems like nobody actually thought. I think Tony was basically saying nobody actually thought I was a traitor. They just wanted me out. And he said, I think there should be a penalty. I think people should actually be trying to go for traitors in the beginning of the game, when in reality, they're really at banishment ceremony kind of just going after somebody they might not like. And that person is gone and they have no chance. Like Bananas in whatever season he was on. It was just like, we just don't want him here. And it's just like, but your goal is to get out traitors, not vote out who you don't like. And that it was suggested by Tony. I think Parvati liked it as well. What do you think about penalty for banishment? That if you guess somebody wrong, if your guess at the banishment is somebody that is not a traitor, some sort of penalty.
I understand what he's correcting for. I don't hate the idea. I do love myself a good hinky vote every once in a while. I don't like wasting votes, but I guess because it's public, it doesn't really matter. I think they do need to solve for that, though. And they need to solve for the fact that there's this traitor angel strategy where, like, a Sandra maybe knows Parvati is a traitor for a while, but has no incentive to get rid of her because she's protecting her. Similar with Brittany and Danielle. I think at some point Brittany knew Danielle was a traitor and was like, well, she's protecting me. Like, I don't need to say her name. And so they need to do something to tweak that, because again, people are sort of gaming the game now, and we need to evolve to fix those things. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't hate Tony's idea. So yeah, I'd be open to it.
How about, this is probably the most controversial one, but I know this has been brought up by people that watch the show, is don't let the viewing audience know who the traitors are from the very get-go, which would make the banishment ceremonies that much more interesting to us, the viewers, but then you can't show us the turret meetings, clearly, because we're not allowed to see who they are. Now, to me, I can do without the turret meetings. Nothing really happens in there. And it's just like, oh, maybe we should go out. You know, they give us who they're possibly looking at to eliminate. They usually give us their bottom three, or, hey, I think this person and this person, and then, oh, they're about to write their name down. And then I think if you got rid of that, and for the viewing audience, when Alan goes around in the first round table, I think there obviously be other changes to the game, but us watching it would just make us watch a little bit differently, because we're all screaming at our TV because we know who the traitors are. And if we don't, then we're basically playing along with everybody there, right? Like, wouldn't that be kind of more gamey for us? But I don't know. I think there's other stuff that I'm not fleshing out.
No, I mean, yeah, I think it would be difficult with this show, but again, I don't hate the concept, because it, like, the mole was that way, and I love the mole, and I love playing along of, like, who the mole is. I do worry in the, you know how it is with spoilers, that it would get out anyway, and then it would kind of be like, well, what's the point? But most, I would say a good chunk of, probably a majority chunk of the viewers aren't the Redditors and the people on Twitter. So maybe it wouldn't matter. I don't hate playing around with the format. I don't know what the right answer is, but if they could edit it away, that would be cool. I'd be open to it.
I don't know if maybe I've told you this before. I don't like to be spoiled in anything in my life outside of Bachelor stuff. So I'll just ask you this, because I don't even know. Is there, like, before last season of the Traitors, was it out there that there were 4 winners somewhere?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I got spoiled a little bit at some point, but
which was or you heard, like, this person is one of the people that makes it to the end?
It was just,
hear all 4?
It was, I kind of heard all 4 by that toward the end. But again, I didn't know for sure, and it's tough when I have friends on the show. I try to avoid, they know not, because if I'm podcasting about something, I don't want to know. So I also kind of avoid spoilers, but I don't think it was out there. I think actually Traitors does a pretty good job of not spoiling, which is good. I hope we continue that, because I don't like to be spoiled. I think it kind of ruins it.
I think the only thing that I heard last year, and this was before the show even started airing, I had heard, like, oh, I can't remember if it was Gabby goes far or Gabby is going to be a name to remember from the Traitors this season. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, well, probably means she wins, but I wasn't told, or it wasn't, like, defined that she's one of the winners. But clearly, as we were getting closer to the end, I was like, anytime Gabby was possibly up for banishment, I was like, it doesn't seem like it, based on, I don't think I would have heard what I did if she was gone at this point,
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
What about well, I mean, there's so many things that could. There's so many suggestions that we could have, and maybe some things are being changed for the upcoming year. Maybe the prize is going to be different. I'm in total agreement with you when it comes to the prize money. Just give us a flat thing that they're playing for at the beginning of the year. It's got to be, and you got to move it up to at least 500,000. I mean,
I mean, this is an
250,000
Emmy-winning show.
Exactly. I know it's in its early stages and it's only 4 seasons in, but it's doing really well to where it's like, can we get these winners more than possibly 250,000? It just doesn't seem like it's a lot of incentive. But I know these people want to go on, and it can lead to other things, and that's kind of why they do it. But I get it. All right, a couple things to wrap up with here. Not a ton, obviously, out there about Big Brother. Starts July 10th. We know that. The other day, we just got our first, I don't know what you want to call it, clue to what the theme of the season is. We got Julie in front of a wall that had 48 keys on it. Some of the keys faced left, some of the keys faced right, some were upside down, some weren't. I don't know what the hell this means, if anything. You ask, I think Allison Grodner and what's his face did an interview and just said, Rich Meehan, hey, you got to unlock the mystery to season 20. Just get the season started. This is driving me nuts. It's like, I don't sit here want to dissect keys. Clearly, keys are going to play a role in some way, shape, or form of season 27. But you cover it longer, more so than I have. When do we usually get the cast announcement? If we know season starts July 10th, are they sequestered for about a week going in, or is it shorter than that?
No, usually, I mean, it depends if it's a live premiere, which I don't think it is, but they haven't announced it either way, so we don't know. But usually they're sequestered for a week and a half before. The cast comes out on the Monday before. So it premieres July 10th, Thursday. The cast will probably come out Monday, maybe Tuesday, because sometimes the premiere's on Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, I would assume the cast would come out. The one thing I do miss is like more preseason coverage. They used to have people go out to LA and interview the contestants before the show, and it was like, you just gotta. No, they just give you like pre-recorded reels for everyone, and it's kind of like, okay. I mean, we could,
Well, is it pre-recorded interviews that are aired once the person is eliminated, and then we get to see what they said pre-show, or are they actually once they announce the cast, but these people are all sequestered, then they would show that then? Like,
I don't know. They've done it differently the last few years where like we would send like a couple questions, but then they would send us all back the same file. So there was like nothing exclusive. It was like one giant 5-minute video of the contestant just asking questions that were more or less producer questions. And it wasn't deep stuff. It was like, what do you like about Julie Chen? And listen, I love Julie Chen, but like, I don't think that's something I need to know about for the game. So
yeah, not all that interesting from an incoming house guest. And for all we know, I mean, do we know if have they said no returnees for 27?
I mean, the press release says all new house guests, so I would assume. Now, there's, I'm pretty sure they might have even said that when Suri was there, because technically she's all new. So there can always be a twist where we just don't know, but they technically said it's all new people.
Okay. And July 10th is when it starts, and we don't know yet if it's going to be a live. I remember last year wasn't live, and I thought that was weird. But so they like started filming on, what we saw on Wednesday was probably filmed Monday or Tuesday, right? When they moved in and did the first challenge and whatnot.
Yeah, sometimes they do that 2-part premiere too, which I don't love that. It's like, oh, you meet 8 people and then you meet, or whatever, 8 other people. I just like it all in one episode. I prefer that. And then I do like the live because the feeds will start basically right that night. So again, a couple questions need to be answered before the premiere. I'm hoping we get a little bit more information, but
and I think they changed it up last year because 2 years ago was when they had that live opening night challenge that just ran way too long and they were rushing. And if you're on live TV in a challenge, it might go longer than you expected, and then it kind of screws everything up. So I think that's why they did last year.
Good call. And I think actually, now that I think about it too, they probably don't do like a lot of the preseason press because of the COVID situation. There have been so many alternates the last couple years after COVID that I think that kind of probably scared them a little bit. But I think we've moved on from that enough where we could go back to preseason press.
Yeah, you would think they would do it, but it's their decision, I guess, on how they want to treat it. I just want to wrap up with this, Sharon. Are you excited about 60-year-old people down on the beach in Bachelor in Paradise this summer?
I mean, listen, I don't know about Bachelor in Paradise specifically. I like seeing older contestants compete. Survivor, some of my favorite, like I like seeing Chrissy Hoff back, Maria. There's a lot of people that I wish got more of a chance. Big Brother too. We had Angela last year. She was amazing. Felicia, like, sure, not the biggest strategist, great television for me. So yeah, I'll take them. I'll take the seniors.
Well, people like Angela, they're not there to date. That's the only thing that's the difference is the 60. Because I don't know. Did you watch either season of Golden Bachelor or Golden Bachelorette?
I didn't, Steve. I'm not great with these love shows. I just get cringe. I get secondhand embarrassment, and I'm.
So you're not watching Love Island either. I'm not.
No, I got sucked
wait,
in.
So you're
a
watching
bit.
that? Isn't that ultimate cringe?
It is, but I've only watched like 2 episodes. I got sucked in by my sister-in-law, and to be honest, I get it. It's so cringe, but it's hard to look away.
Okay, but you've only seen the first 2 episodes of this current season of Love Island.
The last 2.
Oh, okay. So you didn't even know. Okay, so I haven't watched any, but it's all over my.
I think you can just jump in. I just jumped in, and I was like, "Oh my god, this person, this."
Yeah, all I keep hearing are the names Huda and Jeremiah. That's all. It's all on my feed. It's all on the entertainment sites. It's on Us Weekly. It's on people of what Huda and Jeremiah did. It's on my Instagram search history. People giving their comments. Everybody that I follow on Instagram, their stories is of them watching Love Island and giving their commentary on. Oh my gosh, I can't believe these two. He's toxic. She's crazy. Whatever I'm hearing, and it's just like I can't. I've got on July 10th, I've got to start dedicating myself to a 3-night-a-week show. I can't dedicate myself to 6 nights a week, There you are.
No, exactly. Sorry. Someone was at my door. Yep. No, I feel the same way. Like
it's a lot
Big Brother is a big commitment. And that's 3 days a week. I can't imagine 5-6 days a week. That's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's just too much, but good thing you've only watched. Are you going to continue to watch? Like, you're just going to check in like every other day or something? Or what do you plan on doing with Love Island the rest of the season?
I was thinking about watching I think I did miss the latest episode because there was a big recoupling. And I think Paige DeSorbo was on that. I need to watch that one.
She went on the show?
No, I think that that was crazy. They flew her out there to host a competition or something. And she ended up getting sick. And like, people were like, where'd she go? She appeared for like very briefly and then like got sick and left.
Oh, so she wasn't brought on as someone to date her.
No. Okay. I can't see her doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Sharon, thank you so much for coming on. Really enjoyed your second appearance on the podcast. Again, tell everybody where they can find your work. You're going to be starting up when Big Brother starts up the exclusive pod again?
Yep, I will be starting up July 10th, of course. I might have some preseason stuff. I talked to a casting director today that I'm really excited to put that podcast out. But yeah, Big Brother, I'll be really covering a lot. I'll be covering Survivor. I'll start to cover Survivor, which will be fun. And then, of course, Amazing Race in the fall. So there's a lot coming up. I'm actually pretty excited about it.
Cool. We check her out on Sharon Tharp is your Instagram, right? Just at
Sharon Tharp. My podcast Instagram is at exclusivelypod, but it's called The Exclusive. You can find it. Just Google my name. I'm on YouTube, all the good stuff.
Cool. Sharon, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Of course.
And obviously we'll be in touch. You got it.